Alright, hey, I didn't think I'd be, making another one of these videos, but, yeah, yeah, hi, alright, I guess I gotta start off. I like to walk around my house a lot when I'm just doing nothing, when I have nothing to do. I'm very fidgety. I have a lot of this dormant energy. You won't see me at a sports event, but, yeah, I just like to walk around. And, hmm, I think. I like to think a lot when I'm walking around, and this one thing came to my mind, or a topic, I guess, artificial intelligence. Yeah, artificial intelligence. Uh, there's a lot of talk. There's been a lot of talk about it in the past couple of years, and I can see why it's a very big development in the tech industry. And personally, I can see a bunch of ways AI can be used positively. I mean, I wouldn't trust a doctor that passed medical school because they wrote all of their essays with, ChatGPT. But I can still, I can't think of anything right now, but there's probably some sort of positive use for AI. And the doctor example, that's a very real way of how AI is currently being used negatively. You see, these students, instead of modifying their essay with AI or, getting ideas, help with grammar, uh, instead um, they're writing their whole essay from scratch from AI. And I think it's reverse evolution. Really. I'm not saying these kids are dumb, but I'm just saying AI is not what we're supposed to use to write. I can understand why writers would need to use AI to modify some parts of the story, make things shorter, or, you know, just general information, but hang on a second. But what was I talking about? Yeah, right. Yeah. It's a general reverse evolution if you're using AI on your essay. And I know I'm definitely not the first person to talk about it. I know I'm not going to be the last either, especially with all these big developments coming up and all of that. Mm. But I find it important to talk about why I'm opposed to using AI to write essays and all this. Bit of a branch from topic, but humans are one of the most elaborate creatures in the planet. And I'm not obligated to say that. I'm not a scientist, and I'm not a science buff or chemistry or none of that. So, yeah. But I feel like the human mind is amazing. It's amazing work of art. I'm not saying it was created by anybody, but it's amazing how we just have this thing in our heads. The human mind is an amazing thing, really. Uh, you know, in your head, you can do anything. You can think of anything. Sure, what you may not be able to humanly recreate this in drawing or else, but the human mind can think of a lot of things, and that's some people can think more differently than others, and we like to call this creativity. The art of thinking differently rather than just going with what everybody else is saying. that's probably not the definition, but you know, it's a nice sentimental touch to it. Uh, I'm sorry. I'm like I said, I'm fidgety. Uh, we can't use AI to write all of our things because AI, it doesn't have. It has a battery. It has a computer like this one. It has processors. It has millions of lines of code. It has its authors currently in an office somewhere thinking of the next fix for their robot, but it doesn't have a soul. Humans, we have this thing that, well, every living thing has it, but ours is a bit different. Not saying in like a religious way or anything. The human soul is something else. I mean, millions of years of evolution has led to some amazing results. I mean, I'm sitting here right now and I'm in this room built by humans. I'm sitting in a chair also built by humans. I am speaking into a microphone technology which is made by humans over hundreds, maybe not hundreds of years, but over the last 100 years. Technology has expanded so much. It is a absolute astonishing rate. I mean, when you're looking back into the future, back to the past, when you think about it, it took us a very long time in order to figure out we could grow things in the ground. You know, this was the agricultural period of our existence. In the last 100 years, maybe even a little more than that, we have not only discovered technology, but we have mastered ways of building it, which is why we have things like AI. Let me think. Right. You know, I was going to have some deep sentimental points about this, but I'm probably just repeating the same thing over and over again. Your brain can create anything you want. Your brain can do anything. Of course, some people's brains are more advanced, but your brain, as of now, is just sitting there. And you're listening to me, and you're processing my words. You're using your brain right now. Use it a little more. Think of things you'd like to do in your life. Be creative, you know? You can think of amazing things. Thomas Edison would have never invented the light bulb if he didn't think of a problem that needed solving. You know, George Washington would have never led the Continental Army. I know this is a very, very biased opinion, considering, you know what, scratch that. Thomas Edison built the light bulb because he had an idea of a problem that needed to be fixed. Bill Gates, he is one of the largest he's a tech giant, and if he never thought of a way to improve the world's current past technology, we would never be sitting in front of computers. We would never have phones. I mean, Steve Jobs, if none of these people had an idea, we would not be where we are today. I guess the point I'm trying to make is that AI can be beneficial, but the way it's being used now is mostly detrimental to society, to humanity as a whole. I want you to really think about that. I know you've already thought about it a lot, but you can't write the human soul with coding. The human soul, in its emotional entirety, cannot be put in a sentence. Yeah, I think that's it.